Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is my November 2021 book haul. I'll try to make this short and sweet and just go through the books on my docket in chronological order from when I received them. So the first book I have to talk about is Let It Snow, Three Holiday Romances by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. So you might have seen me grab this book on out of the little free library in front of the Writers Center in one of my NaNoWriMo vlogs of this month. I was doing chores in Bethesda, and I knew that, the Writers Center had this little free library and that it would be fun to, partake in a little bit of a book swapping. I did have this really out of the ballpark experience a couple of years ago when I randomly found not only a book in really good condition, but one that was on my own TBR inside of a little free library. And so maybe I was a little bit too hopeful, but man, the choices in the library this time around, they were bad. Not only because I wasn't very interested in most of the books, but I mean, I don't think most people would be interested, and most people, period, would be interested in most of the books. We had like weird, like homemade sort of felty covers of really like vague, thin picture books of like, what, I don't know, like pictures that didn't seem appealing like to a wide audience of a historical nature. We had a lot of books that were just damaged, like I remember a copy of Freshwater by Akwaeke Emeze, which was torn and scuffed or had water damage, and it was a hardback without a cover or anything. There were also a few copies of mid-series fantasy books, like if you just want to start in the middle of the story. So this one was basically the clearest winner to me. It's in decent condition, really, or maybe even more than decent condition. And I guess it's not really something I necessarily was jumping up and down to read, but it was of the most interest to me to try out, because why not? That being said, this feels like a perfect December read, a holiday read. But my reading schedule for next month is pretty much full up, so hopefully this will keep for another year. The next book I have to talk about is a book of short stories. Today, a Woman Went Mad in the Supermarket by Hilma Wolitzer, with a foreword by Elizabeth Strout. This collection came out very recently. I believe the last story in here, in fact, is a COVID story. I'm more familiar with Wolitzer's daughter, Meg Wolitzer's work, but I remember in the past I have read a novel by Hilma Wolitzer, who in her own right has been writing and publishing for several decades. So this is very much a culmination of stories, I think, from her career, a short little collection, but I'm excited to give it a go. And in fact, I've decided to give this collection a go for Hanukkah this season, because for the last few years, I have been reading a short story collection by a Jewish author and reviewing one story per each of the 8 nights of Hanukkah. So I'll have that video up in early December. So excited for that. Here's my only library book of the collection this month. This is The December Project by Sarah Davidson, which I will be reading at the end of this month because my Mom and Auntie's book club will be meeting virtually to discuss this book in early December. So, yeah. You will see me grab this book from my library hold shelf in an upcoming nano vlog video, my attempt to do good with the vlogging aspect, I guess. But anyway, I will read from the flap about what this is about. In 2009, New York Times best-selling author Sarah Davidson was surprised by a call from Rabbi Zalman Sacher Shalomi, asking her to engage with him in a project he called the December Project. At 85, Reb Zalman wanted to teach people how to navigate the December of life, and to help them not freak out about dying. Davidson jumped at the chance. She feared that death would be a complete annihilation, while Reb Zalman felt certain that something continues. For 2 years, they met every Friday to discuss this, and how getting up close with morality quickens our ability to relish every day. Woven through their talks are sketches from Reb Zalman's life, escaping the Nazis, becoming an Orthodox rabbi in the U.S., landing in San Francisco during the sexual revolution, taking LSD with Timothy Leary, befriending other faith leaders including Thomas Merton and the Dalai Lama, and founding the Jewish Renewal Movement. During their time together, Davidson was nearly killed by a suicide bomb, and Reb Zalman faced a steep decline in health. They created strategies to deal with pain and memory loss, and found tools to cultivate fearlessness and joy at any age. Davidson includes 12 exercises so readers can experience what she did, a sea change in facing what we all must face, mortality. And here's actually a picture of the two mortality conversation seekers on the back. I feel like this kind of shows the age, is that ageist of me to say, that my mom and auntie's book club is of primarily of people, 30 or so years older than me, give or take, coming to wanting to discuss these sorts of questions. I admit that does interest me, on a philosophical level, about two people, confronting the issue of mortality, especially as they might face that issue more viscerally in their lives. But I would say, in my personal biased wheelhouse, probably what interests me more is just, a autobiography of sorts of a Jewish faith leader's life at the end of his life. So, yeah, looking forward to reading this. And finally, just got this one in the mail from Barnes & Noble. This is the Foundation Trilogy from Isaac Asimov. In fact, this is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of the three books, as they are called, I believe, of the first three books of the trilogy. Got our golden edges and our pretty end papers too, and also just a great easy way to bring all of the granddaddy science fiction books together in one volume. This is very exciting. I can go ahead and put these next to the granddaddy fantasy books on my shelf. Granddaddy science fiction, granddaddy fantasy, granddaddy science fiction, granddaddy fantasy, and Star Wars. So anyway, the Foundation Trilogy is what's called classic science fiction from the 1940s, starting out as short stories that were published in famous SF magazines of that time period. Isaac Asimov was influenced by a book detailing the rise and fall of the Roman Empire to try and understand how to preserve an empire that, would inevitably fall, as all empires do, and thus was born his futuristic Foundation series of interlinked short stories of a sort that became first this trilogy and then more stories as Asimov's career went on. These stories are considered to be the inspiration for a lot of the science fiction and fantasy that came after it, from Dune to Star Wars and etc. And I went ahead and I recently watched the Apple TV adaptation of Foundation. It's, from what I understand, a very loose adaptation, but it made me interested, and I finally decided I should go ahead and bite the bullet and read myself some Isaac Asimov. So yeah, I'm slated in my schedule to read this trilogy in one next month. And what a fun way to end the year. So that about covers it for me now. You can find the Goodreads links to all of the books I just mentioned linked down below. I should be back on this channel in a couple of days with my fourth NaNoWriMo vlog of 2021. though before then I have to go to Baltimore and do Thanksgiving and all of that. So it's going to be a crazy couple of days coming up for me. I'm just hoping I can squeeze in a little writing time around the family time, but we shall see. I hope all of you who are about to embark on celebrating U.S. Thanksgiving have a good time of it. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.